Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that feels both urgent and surprising. A story unfolding in a place where few ever imagined water would one day run out. Tehran, the capital of Iran and home to nearly 9 million people, is now facing a water crisis deeper and more complicated than anything the city has dealt with before. For years, warnings existed on the sidelines, spoken by experts and environmental researchers, but rarely taken seriously by the public. Now those warnings are no longer predictions, they are becoming reality. Tehran's water crisis is not the result of a single event. It is a slowly built disaster shaped by climate change, decades of poor management, rapid population growth, and the simple fact that nature no longer replenishes the region the way it used to. This is a moment many describe as the point of no return, and the city's struggle is attracting global attention. If a major metropolitan area like Tehran can reach the brink of running dry, then it signals a warning for other cities built in water-stressed regions around the world. Today, we're breaking down how this crisis unfolded, what's happening now, and what the future might hold for the people who depend on this shrinking resource. For much of its history, Tehran relied on a climate that provided enough snowfall in the surrounding mountains and sufficient rainfall during key parts of the year. But over the past few decades, that natural balance has changed dramatically. Rainfall has declined, temperatures have risen, and the once reliable mountain snowpacks have shrunk. This means the city now receives far less fresh water than it used to, and the water that does fall evaporates more quickly, leaving reservoirs at record low levels. As this shift accelerated, the gap between supply and demand widened. Tehran's growing population needed more water, yet the sky delivered less and less. It was a recipe for crisis. To understand why Tehran's situation is especially severe, we need to look at the reservoirs feeding the city. These reservoirs used to be considered dependable, even during dry years. But new measurements show alarming drops in water levels, with some facilities reaching their lowest point in decades. The concerning part is that these reservoirs are not refilling the way they once did. Even after a year with average rainfall, they remain critically low because the long-term trend is downward. This means Tehran is now operating in a state of permanent water stress, where old expectations and old strategies simply no longer work. Another major factor driving the crisis is groundwater depletion. As surface sources failed to meet demand, the city increasingly turned to deep wells and underground aquifers. At first, it seemed like a convenient solution, but aquifers are not bottomless, and they require decades, sometimes centuries, to naturally recharge. In Tehran's case, groundwater use exceeded recharge rates for many years, and the result is a dangerous imbalance. Wells have dried up, underground water tables have sunk to historic lows, and in some districts, land subsidence has begun, where the ground literally sinks because the empty aquifers can't support the soil above them. This is a sign of long-term damage that cannot be reversed simply by adding new rainfall. Water management policies played a major role as well. For years, agriculture consumed the majority of Iran's fresh water, while the farmland surrounding Tehran provides essential food. It also uses vast quantities of water, often through inefficient irrigation systems. This put enormous pressure on the city's shared water sources, and as more farms pushed deeper into arid land, they relied on groundwater pumping that further drained already stressed aquifers. At the same time, urban consumption rose without significant investment in modern water recycling, leak detection, or efficient distribution systems. All these issues combined to leave the region vulnerable the moment climate patterns shifted. But the most surprising part of Tehran's crisis is how quickly it has accelerated. Many residents assumed the city's geography protected it. Mountains surround Tehran, and historically those mountains provided melting snow every spring. But climate change has altered both snowfall and melt cycles. Where the peaks once held thick layers of snow through winter, now there are years with minimal coverage. And when snow does fall, warmer spring temperatures melt it too quickly. Instead of slowly releasing water over several months, the melt now rushes down in a short period, causing inefficient absorption and contributing to the rapid evaporation problem. It's a system that no longer behaves as it did in the past. As the crisis worsens, Tehran has begun facing difficult decisions about rationing. Water pressure in certain neighborhoods drops for hours at a time. In some districts, planned outages are introduced as part of conservation efforts, and residents are asked to reduce usage, fix leaks, and avoid unnecessary consumption. While these measures help, they are not enough to reverse the long-term trends. They simply buy time. The deeper solutions require structural changes that will take years to implement, from infrastructure upgrades to agricultural policy reform to national water use strategies that align with the climate reality. For the people of Tehran, the crisis is not just a technical or political issue. It affects daily life in immediate, tangible ways. Families store bottled water. Building managers struggle to maintain consistent water pressure. Businesses dependent on steady water supply, like restaurants or industrial facilities, face disruption. And there is a growing sense of uncertainty, an awareness that something fundamental is changing. Water, once taken for granted, has become a fragile commodity. Despite the challenges, there are efforts underway to confront the crisis. Iran has begun exploring water transfer projects, bringing water from distant regions to supply major cities. These projects are expensive, controversial, and environmentally complicated, but they represent an attempt to stabilize urban water access. Meanwhile, new technologies aimed at recycling wastewater, improving irrigation efficiency, and detecting leaks in the distribution network are slowly being adopted. While these solutions provide hope, they require coordination, funding, and long-term commitment. Another proposed solution involves changing agricultural patterns. Iran is one of the world's largest producers of water-intensive crops like pistachios. Reducing cultivation of such crops near major cities and transitioning toward less water-dependent alternatives could significantly ease pressure on shared water sources. But this also affects farmers' livelihoods, economic stability, and export income, making it a politically delicate issue. Still, experts argue that without major changes to agricultural water use, urban shortages will continue to escalate. Urban reforms are equally important. Tehran's water infrastructure includes old pipes prone to leaks, inefficient distribution systems, and limited recycling facilities. Modernizing these systems could save substantial amounts of water. Some estimates suggest that improving leak detection alone could recover millions of liters lost each year. Additionally, introducing more water-efficient home appliances and encouraging rooftop rain collection could help households contribute to conservation. But even with these improvements, one reality remains inescapable. Tehran must adapt to a future where water is far scarcer than in the past. Climate models predict that drought frequency and severity will continue to rise across the region. Extreme heat waves will become more common, and precipitation patterns will shift in ways that disrupt traditional water cycles. For a city already struggling, these trends pose a serious long-term threat. On the global stage, Tehran's crisis is one of many warning signs. Cities like Cape Town, Sao Paulo, and Los Angeles face similar challenges. As climate patterns change, urban centers built in water-stressed regions must rethink their assumptions. Tehran's current struggle shows what happens when long-term environmental shifts collide with rapid population growth and outdated management systems. It's a case study in how quickly a major city can approach the limits of its natural resources. Even though the situation is serious, it also brings opportunities for innovation. Countries facing water scarcity often become leaders in water technology. Iran has strong scientific and engineering communities capable of developing advanced solutions. From desalination research to smarter irrigation systems, these innovations may not only benefit Iran, but also contribute to global water knowledge. However, innovation requires investment, collaboration, and transparent planning. Education is another key factor. Public awareness campaigns can shift consumer behavior and reduce unnecessary water use. When people understand the severity of a crisis, they are more likely to participate in conservation efforts. This includes everything from shorter showers to using water-efficient fixtures to reporting leaks. While individual actions cannot solve the entire problem, they play a crucial role in reducing demand during critical periods. As we look forward, the question is not whether Tehran can avoid water scarcity altogether. That point may have already passed. The real question is whether the city can stabilize its supply enough to sustain daily life for millions of residents without reaching a catastrophic breaking point. Achieving this requires cooperation across multiple sectors: government, agriculture, industry, science, and households. It demands long-term thinking rather than temporary fixes. In the end, Tehran's water crisis is a reminder of how deeply intertwined societies are with their natural environment. Water is not just a resource, it is the foundation of life, economy, culture, and survival. When that foundation cracks, everything built upon it becomes vulnerable. The people of Tehran are now experiencing what happens when environmental stress meets decades of postponed solutions. Yet, they are also at the forefront of a global challenge that will define the coming decades. As the world watches, Tehran faces a defining moment. The decisions made today will determine the city's future for generations to come. Whether through innovative policies, modernized infrastructure, or transformed agricultural systems, the path forward will require bold action. It will also require acknowledging the scale of the problem honestly, even when the truth is uncomfortable. Water scarcity is not just an environmental issue. It is a social, economic, and humanitarian challenge. And so, as we reflect on this unfolding crisis, it's important to recognize that Tehran is not alone. Cities worldwide are grappling with similar realities. What makes Tehran's situation unique is the speed and scale of its transformation from a water-secure city to one facing severe shortages. This transformation offers valuable lessons for the rest of the world about what happens when environmental warnings go unheeded and when human systems fail to adapt to natural limits. If there is one message to take from Tehran's story, it is that water security can never be assumed. It must be earned, maintained, and protected, and once lost, it is extraordinarily difficult to restore. The people of Tehran now stand at the front lines of a global shift, navigating a future where water scarcity shapes daily life and long-term planning. Their experience may ultimately guide other cities as they prepare for similar challenges. Thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me in exploring this important topic. If you found this explanation helpful, feel free to share your thoughts below. Your engagement helps bring attention to issues that matter, and it supports the creation of more content like this. Stay informed, stay curious, and as always, take care.